After a long winter, we are all welcoming the return of spring. If you're a sports fan, or it means the return of baseball. It will be a dramatically different year, though, particularly if you're a fan of the Toronto Blue Jays. Let's bring in Mark Shapiro, President and CEO of the Toronto Blue Jays. Welcome to the program, and thanks for joining us. I want to start there. Right? This is going to be a different kind of year. Namely, biggest one is that if you're a fan, you just can't go down and watch a game in Toronto.
Well, that is very true. We're all living in unprecedented times. I think that word gets used more than ever in uncertain times. And for us, it starts the second season in a row in which the biggest challenge we're facing is not to be able to play in front of our fans and not even be able to play in our home city, country, or stadium.
What does that do in terms of sort of maintaining fan interest? I mean, because part of it, everyone has their story, particularly if you're like me, you're born and raised in the GTA. You got memories of going to the C&E grandstand to watch games. You got memories of Skydome, Rogers Center. When you take that out of the equation, does it become a challenge to make sure people remain interested in the organization?
Well, I think there's some challenge that all of us in sports and live entertainment are facing, and in that over the past year, people have become a little bit disengaged and certainly haven't been able to watch events live. I would say that there's one simple cure to that challenge of disconnection, and that lies in winning. And the fact that our team is a young, exciting, dynamic group. So we're not going to give in to the challenge of not being able to play at home. We're going to keep getting better. It's become a trademark of this team, their resilience and their determination in the face of the unknown. And when we do get home and when we are able to play in front of our fans in Toronto, it's just going to make it that much sweeter.
Yeah, winning definitely is one of those things that suddenly uncovers a lot of fans who might not have been there through the thin part of it. A lot of teams pulling back on spending, though, because of the uncertainty of COVID-19. You did see an opportunity to land a big free agent. George Springer, I imagine that's all about winning as well. Why make a move that big and that, I guess, economically aggressive in times like these of such uncertainty?
Well, we were just incredibly fortunate that our ownership, obviously part of a large corporation in Rogers, allowed us to stay the course. So it was somewhat opportunistic, but really more just adhering to our plan. We took in the fact that our players believed so strongly in themselves last year that they accelerated the time frame with a playoff appearance, albeit in a shortened season. We looked at the objective, facts that our core is talented and on the rise, and we felt that it was the right moment to continue to supplement. That started last year with Hyun-Jin Ryu, and then it really increased this year with Marcus Semien and George Springer, among others. So we feel like that's something we're going to keep doing. It didn't just, it's not, solely based on this past offseason. We're going to build around a young, talented core of players by adding in players that are in their prime and can provide them experience and wisdom.
All right, so you build a young team, you look forward to winning, that brings the fans back in. From an economic standpoint, how important is it to have a winning team and, to keep pushing on past the regular season? I imagine there's a lot of revenue in that.
Yeah, well, winning is the largest lever. I mean, there are a lot of things that are important for a sports organization to do. Many of those help to build a resilient brand. They help you, soften the valley when you do struggle, and they help you to make the peaks a lot higher from a revenue perspective when you do well. But the largest lever when it comes to a sports organization remains winning. It's the thing we have to be most focused on. I think for us as an organization, we try to obsessively focus on 1,000 little things rather than just one big thing, whether it's acquiring talent and developing talent or whether it's, focusing on fan experience when we get the chance to do it. So, your question's right. The largest lever for revenue is winning, and that's why we're so bullish on the Blue Jays moving forward.
We got a lot of Blue Jays fans, a lot of baseball fans at the station. They have a ton of questions. I'm going to try to get some of them to you. I'm sort of like their conduit, Mark. One that really struck my interest, though, the NBA selling these digitized highlights to their games as these non-fungible tokens. I know this is pretty, bleeding edge technology, but do you take a look at that and say, oh, that might be an opportunity for us?
Yeah, NFTs, blockchain technology. I mean, clearly that's a cutting edge opportunity. I think it's always a matter when emerging markets develop. Where is the trend or the fashion side, and where is the real opportunity from a business perspective? We're looking at those things more on a league side than an individual team side. That's the way MLB structured. The digital side of our business is largely collectively controlled through the power of all 30 teams. But from an ownership perspective, it's something we're spending time on right now, and ventures in the works that will explore NFTs for MLB.
Okay, so that might be some interesting developments on that front, as you said, at the league level. Wanted to talk, too, about the challenges of the pandemic. I mean, clearly you cannot play in your home stadium, in your home country. You won't be in Toronto. You're going to start the season against the Yankees. You're going to go to Texas and play the Rangers. Talk about differences, I guess, in approach to how they're going to sell the games. I mean, I believe the Rangers at the outset are going to fill that stadium. What kind of, I guess, concerns does that raise as you try to keep your organization safe during a pandemic?
Well, I mean, we've got very strict and rigorous protocols in place, and our players have been incredibly respectful of them. In fact, through an entire shortened season and a spring where they didn't live in a controlled environment, we've had 0 positive cases. So I think our players' adherence to the protocols that are in place speak for themselves. In addition, we're going to be getting our guys vaccinated when they return off the road. Those that want to take the vaccine, that's going to be available to them because it is available here in Florida for everyone as of April 3rd, everyone over 18, which is a huge positive. So the combination of the protocols and the vaccine, we feel like, do the best we possibly can to mitigate a health risk with our players. As far as other markets go, I tend to focus on the Toronto Blue Jays and what we're doing. It certainly will be odd, to go into Texas and see a full stadium for our first game there. The range of stadiums that we'll see are anywhere from 10% to 100%, but mostly, in the 10, 20, 30% range. And I think it'll be done at a respectful distancing level as we gradually work back to having fans. We just need to work back to getting home before we can even think about fans, but that's what we'll see when we're on the road this year.
Yeah, before I let you go, Mark, I want to ask you, I know it's impossible to have a date in mind, but if you had a wish list, a reasonable, realistic wish list of getting the Jays back to Toronto, when do you think that'd be?
Well, it starts with, being deferential to public health and understanding that we don't want to be a health risk. But, I've started to be a little more optimistic in the last few weeks as vaccines became accessible and available down here to the general population, that by the middle of summer and towards the end of summer, we can be living in an environment where the health risks are somewhat mitigated and a lot safer, especially in the markets that we're playing in or playing against, so that cross-border travel doesn't represent a risk. That won't be my decision to make, but if we make a case at some point in the coming weeks or months, it'll be based upon that.